Hey guys, it's me Twishika Daily again, and I'm here with another video for you. Before I start, guys, if you have watched all my other videos, remember to go and like them. Also, if you want to see more good stuff from me, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you want to see next. And if you're not following me also on Instagram, go and check out my Instagram. It is at twishika.daily. And I also do a lot of polls, and you can join in on the polls to see what I'm going to be making next. And then you can also help me make it, because we are helping each other at the moment, because I've set myself a challenge to use most of the fabric on my fabric shelf to make you new content and to make myself some really amazing items. If they're not being modeled by me, they'll be modeled by my sisters and my friends and my brothers and everybody else in my family and my close circle of friends. Anyway, let's get into this, guys. Today, the fabric that I'm going to be using is this gorgeous fabric, and it's in a gorgeous green, white and orange print with like little tones of red and blues as well on the leaves and flowers. Gorgeous. And it's a chiffon, so it moves really nicely. And the project is to use whatever I have on the shelf to make it, line it, finish it, everything like that. Sadly though, I don't have any plain white fabric that I'm going to use for lining, so the only thing I'm going to buy for this project is some lightweight lining to go underneath, and I'm going to do that in a chiffon as well, I think, just to keep that kind of nice flow. So I'm going to make a skirt, and I'm also going to make a top that goes with the skirt, and this is just in a nice white plain stretch fabric, and it's going to be something basic like a vest top. The inspiration for this look is right here, and it's basically going to be very similar, almost identical to this look, because when I designed this, or when I had this in mind, this is the thing that I saw, realized I had similar fabric on my shelf, and I said, why even bother make it harder for myself designing something when this is actually looking pretty cute already? So I'm going to use this. And the tools that you will need for this video are your sewing tools, a set square, and I've got a curved ruler as well. If you don't have these, a regular ruler will do, or a tape measure will also do. I have my fabric scissors and I have my paper scissors. Remember, don't mix them up, don't use them for the other thing, okay, because you're gonna ruin both of them. Then I have my pens. I've got my pens. This is what I used to mark the label and label my patterns with. This is what I mark out cut under fold and specific instructions per pattern with as well. Then I've got my click, my pencil, and also you need some scissors. Wow. You need some pins. Guys, I've got all my pins here, and that's for when you get to the fabric stage. Okay, so, and then the last but not least, I got some pattern paper. Okay, so this is the pattern paper that I use, the dots and crosses, and I think that's it. Let's get into this video. Let's go. Okay, first things first is you take your fabric. My fabric is 152 centimeters, and I've got about 3 meters of that. So I'm not going to change the length of the fabric. I'm going to keep the length the same. And what I'm going to do is use the measurement from the waist to the length that I want, and I'm going to mark it down from the top of the fabric to the length I want. Because this is a chiffon fabric, I will be able to just do a slight snip in the fabric and then just tear it across, and then that would give me the exact length on a straight line going from the side seam to the side seam. So as you can see here, I am just squaring off the top of the fabric and making sure everything is straight before I mark down and do my full length measurement for the skirt. Once that has been squared off and I am sure that the top edge is straight, I can now mark down to the full length of my skirt, And remember, this is not including the waistband. My waistband will be 1.5 centimeters wide. That means I need to cut it 4 centimeters. I'll explain that a bit later, but for now, as you can see, I am just ripping across the fabric. And what you need to do is repeat this step 2 more times, because you need 3 rectangles for the skirt that I'm going to be making. As you saw in the picture, it is a pleated skirt, and I need enough fabric to give me voluminous pleats. So I'm gonna use the fabric that I've just cut, the piece that I've just cut, and I'm gonna lay it on top of the remaining fabric and cut exactly the same width and the same length as the one I just cut. So once that is measured, I can nip it again, and I've just kind of torn the fabric again across. If your fabric is not a chiffon or a cotton, please do not try this, because you could potentially ruin the fabric and waste the beautiful fabric that you have bought. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time. So I have 3 separate rectangles, and that will go for the front, the sides, and the back. And the way I'm going to attach it, you'll be able to see later on how that can leave room for the front split as well. Okay, so here I am doing the last one. I couldn't find my scissors there. Yep, so we're just gonna snip it and rip it. Okay, so now the 3 pattern pieces are done, and that will be your main body of the skirt. With the remainder I have, which is this piece I'm holding here, I am going to measure out my waistband. I'm just showing you how wide the waistband is going to be once it's folded over. And remember, the top of the waistband is going to be on a fold, so you don't need to cut out the waistband twice. You just need to do a long strip, and I want mine to be 1.5 centimeters wide, inches wide, sorry. And so I'm going to double that, and then I'm going to add an inch for seam allowance. So that gives me 4 inches, sorry, a nip across where 4 inches mark is. And then I'm going to measure out the complete length of my waist, and then add on another inch for seam allowance. So once again, I'm nipping and I'm snipping into the fabric. So you just rip up from where you've marked on both ends. You rip the length, and then you're going to rip the height when you get to it. So right now I've just cut it because I'm just in case, because it's a smaller amount, I didn't want to really rip it, so I snipped it with my scissors. And here is your waistband complete. Later on we're going to use this waistband, and we are going to cut out interfacing for the waistband just to stiffen it a bit more, that when it's folded it will have the right shape needed. Okay, so here are the pattern pieces, the main body of the skirt and the waistband. That's all we're going to need for now, and we're going to move on to the next step. So because I have a waistband that's been cut to my exact waist measurements, I'm going to have a back seam for a zipper, and then the other opening would be from the waistline. It will open up into my split at the front. Alright, so I need to accommodate for the back seam, and what I'm going to do is take one of the rectangles and we're going to fold it in half, and then what I'm going to do is make a snip on the fold at the half point, and then I'm going to tear down, or you can also cut it down, and then that would divide my back section into 2. Okay, so now I've got a seam going down the back where I can insert my zip once it's attached to the waistband. Okay. Okay, so instead of 4 pieces, you should now have 5 pieces. That's your waistband, the 2 bigger rectangles, and the 2 rectangles that are halved. Alright, so with the waistband, we're going to attach our interfacing, and then we're going to stitch it all together. So in case you didn't understand what I meant with the fabric, here is the breakdown. So remember, you start with 3 long pieces, and then what you're going to do is half one of the pieces, and then you get 2. So that's 2 long and 2 short pieces plus your waistband, and that's all you need for the skirt apart from your interfacing. So the long piece would connect to a short piece, a short piece to a short piece at the back, and the other one to a longer piece. All right, so then the 2 longer pieces will join together at the front, and that's where your split opening will be. You will have pleats along the top that connect to your waistband. You will leave a gap at the back for the zip, and you can also insert pockets at the side seams if you want, but you have to realize that the front comes together just at the top so that your split can be the right height, etc, etc. The next step is to cut out the interfacing for your waistband. So I've just laid the waistband on top of the interfacing. Because my interfacing is a bit thinner, I've just doubled the interfacing, and this is why you can see that I've cut on the fold. So once that is cut out, you can iron your interfacing pieces onto your waistband, and then we are ready to move on to the next step. Hey guys, so I'm about to begin the construction of the skirt, and the first thing I'm going to do is join all of the seams together, except the back pieces. So what I'm going to do basically is attach a long piece to a short piece, and then where they have been joined, I'm just going to seal the seam with overlocking. Okay, so I'm going to seal a longer piece to a shorter piece along the side seams, stitch them together, then I'm going to overlock it, and we do that twice because there's 2 of each pieces. All right, okay, so now that the side seams are sewn up, what you're going to do is take your 2 back pieces, the center back as I described in the picture. This is the short panels that go towards the back, and you're going to now overlock down the back of each of these, okay, so that your seams are clean, so that when you do go and put your zip in, there'll be no frayed edges or anything like that. So what I'm doing here is making sure that I'm leaving enough length for the zip to be attached. You don't mark down the length of the zip from the top of the skirt, you mark down the length of the zip from the top of the waistband. So to get that accurately, you have to pin the waistband to the skirt, and then you line the zip up with the skirt at the top of the waistband, and then you pin just where the metal part of the zip ends. That's where you're going to start sewing from. So you leave an opening at the top of the skirt, and you start sewing down from the pin point all the way down to the bottom of the hem. And this is with the 2 pieces. You're sealing the 2 back pieces together from the pin point to the hem. Okay, so make sure as you are sewing, you are making sure the back pieces are lined up evenly, and just stitch a 1 centimeter seam allowance from where the pin was to the bottom of the hem. So now you stitched it together as I mentioned. Your top bit here will be open, where your zip is gonna go in, right? That's your zip opening there, and then your seam should be able to be opened like this, flat. So you're gonna press that open, okay, and yeah, that we don't have to do the pressing now, but we're gonna press it open at some point. We're going to press it open at some point, and then go from there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now that we've got our back seam together, what you need to do is what you did for the back, you're going to do the reverse for the front. Okay, so for the back, as you saw, we left the short edge open. Okay, and now from the front we need to kind of neaten our seams, so we're going to overlock the seams again, and now you should have the longest rectangle because you've put all the pieces together. So what you're going to need to do now is find the 2 ends that are not attached on the longest piece of your fabric, and that will be your center front pieces, or the bits that go at the front, and these are them. You're going to kind of overlock down the front of them, okay, and then you're going to join them from the top where the waistband is going to be attached. You're going to join them and go down to however far you want your split to stop. Okay, so from your waist you need to measure down how high you want your split. I wouldn't go from the hem. It's always good to measure from your split. It's always good to go from your waistline to where you want the split opening to start. Okay, so I've got mine written down, so what I would do is just go, and then what I'll do is pin them. Once I've overlocked them, pin them together on the reverse end so that all your seams are on the inside, remember, and then you stop there. Okay, and then that's it for now. You just do your back stitch when you start and your back stitch to end, and what you have now is the opening to your split. Okay, so what we are going to do now is press the seam open from where you just sewn. You're going to press your seam open flat like this all the way down, so where the split ends you're going to press it there, and you're going to press it, you're going to press a centimeter all the way down this side, all the way down this side. So from where it begins, press, 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 and then press, 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 press. Folded back my seam like this. I've realized that when I'm going to hem the skirt, this is the hem of the skirt, I don't want it to, when I hem it, that it has a possibility of like sticking off the side like that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to overlock the whole edge of the hem. Then I'm going to turn it up. We're going to hem the whole thing, turn it up by a centimeter, stitch in place. Before you do that though, I would check if the hem is the length that you want it to be at first though, because you don't want to hem it and then realize it's too long and then you can't do anything about it. So check your length first and then cut accordingly. Cut it down if you need to shorten it, or if it's fine then just do exactly what I said just now. Overlock, hem it, and then what we're going to do is once that's turned up like this, then we're gonna push down the split like this, and then we should be able to just top stitch all the way up. So the split, so what you're gonna see is one stitch going up on the right side all the way up until where the split opening starts. Okay, okay, so I've stitched the hem, and now this is the opening here for the split. So after you have your hem stitched here, what you do is literally fold it by a centimeter, and you should get this gorgeous fold here. Just pin it in a way where it's not overlapping, so from the front you can't see any overlap, but it should be a perfect corner between where your hem ends and where your where your front split begins. Okay, so from there all you're gonna do is just hello, what's going on here? Let's not be silly. It would be when I come on camera and trying to show me up, you know. Try that again, shall we? Okay, so what you're going to do is stitch all the way up one side of the split. I would recommend that you stitch it on the wrong side so you can see your seam allowance or your hem allowance of the split. And when you get to the top where the split's joined, what you are going to do is, so you continue to sew up, sew, and then you get to the opening, you put the needle down, you lift the foot, and what you're going to do is swivel it till you're like 90 degrees away from the seam you've just sewn. So you're going to sew across and then you're going to stop. So what you're doing is going up one end, going across, coming back down the other end of the skirt. Okay, so now we've just done the sew across, and then we're going to bring it all the way back down to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. Okay, I don't know if you can see it. So we've gone up one end here, we've squared across there, and we're back down. Okay, so on the inside it's just a normal seam, and that's the skirt basically done. All you've got to do now is calculate how much pleats we'll do. You can even freehand the pleats if you're not that fussed, which I prefer to do it properly so your pleats are even. But now we're going to try to pleat this and then pleat it into our waistband. So all of this length needs to be the same length as your waistband. Okay, so we're going to move to the bigger table so that we can see this properly. Okay guys, transparency, full transparency here. This took far too long, to the point I can't even explain this to you, because this I'm hungry now. This is how long it took. I'm actually hungry. And though I've done pleats before, what I think I've done is I did a bit too, I think my fabric was a bit too wide, and though it is fit and it looks nice, I like the volume, it's the fact that I've had to like really overlap some of the pleats at the back here to make this work, and they're semi-even. The pleats are semi-even, but if I did it again, I think I would have less fabric. It's hard for me to show you. I would have less fabric going on, like the length of the skirt, the width of the skirt, I would have less, and then I would scrunch it into the waistband a lot better. Or maybe for future reference, I could just gather it, and that would actually work as well, because then I wouldn't have to worry about spacing the pleats out evenly or anything like that. So this is the pleated waistband. These are the pleats attached to the waistband now, and what I'm gonna do is just go and sew along the whole seam allowance here. That's just to kind of secure the waist band to the pleats, or to the pleated skirt, and then I'll come back after that is done. Right, so I've stitched the waistband on now, and I have overlocked it just to keep everything nice and tidy inside. The next step is to add your zip on. It starts from the halfway point of the waistband down to the opening, the end of the opening of the back that we had left open. All right, so you can find videos of how to stitch in a zipper on YouTube, and also unfortunately you're gonna have to find one of how to stitch your waistband closed as well, because I've lost all the footage for that as well. So guys, I have made a skirt for this and a top for this, so enjoy the full look of this project. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I apologize so much for all the missing content, but I really did want to get something up for you. If you want to see how I've made this top, please let me know in the comments so I can know to make a video for it. Also, another video will be coming of how I make a bag that matches this outfit, and that will be an upcycling DIY project. So much fun, so many good things to come, guys. And this is part one of the series of me using all the fabric that I have on my shelf to make myself some new and exciting pieces. I hope you've enjoyed watching today, and I hope to see you come back for many more videos. So please remember to subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and show me some serious love in the comments, guys. Have a wonderful day. God bless. I love you all. Goodbye.